Hello everyone, this is Professor Xun Bian. In this video tutorial, I want to show you how do you calculate the interest rate using the TI-BA2 plus financial calculator. So in this case, the question that we're going to work through is this one here. If you deposited $5,000 into a savings account and then you double your money in 20 years, what is the interest rate that you earned? What is the interest rate that you earn per year? That's basically what we're asking here. So the investment timeline, it's super simple. You're putting in $5,000 at the beginning of the investment. You're getting out $10,000 after 20 years. So here you're putting in negative $5,000 because this is a cash outflow, so that's why you have a negative sign in front of the cash flow. Here, this is how much you're getting out, and the time difference between the two is 20 years. So like what we have done in the past, what we do on our financial calculator is we one by one enter the parameters that supply to us. At the end, we'll be solving for the interest rate. So as always, you want to clear the memory of your financial calculator. You can do that by doing second, reset, and enter. And then you enter your time horizon. In this case, we're talking about 20 years, so 20 for N. Then negative $5,000 for PV, because where you're making the investment, you're contributing money to this account. And then 10,000, this is how much you're getting out. We enter that as the future value. Then you can go ahead and solve for the interest rate on your financial calculator. That will be the IY. So CPT stands for compute, and IY is the interest rate. And then if you did everything correctly, then you should see the answer to be 3.53. Because we're solving for IY, as I have already told you in earlier video tutorials, right? The IY from your financial calculator is already a percentage number. So if you see 3.53 here, that means you're earning 3.53% per year by making this investment. So as usual, what I want to do here is that I want to bring in my financial calculator and I want to run this calculation in front of you. So if you have your financial calculator by your side, feel free to work through this problem alongside with me. Again, although I probably have already cleared the memory already, but let me still do that. I want to do second, reset, and enter, right? So now I'm good to go. What I want to do here is I want to do 20. This is 20 years we're talking about, right? That is my N. We're trying to solve for IY. So for present value, I want to put in 5,000, right? Notice here there is a plus and minus sign. I want to make sure that I put the $5,000 in as a negative number because this is cash outflow. So I enter that as my present value. Then I go ahead and enter 10,000, right? This is how much that will be receiving after 20 years. Then I put that in as my future value. Then I can go ahead and solve for the interest rate. As I said, 3.53, that actually means 3.53% per year. That is basically what you're earning on an annual basis. All right, so if you're running this calculation like this, one of the underlying assumptions that you're making here is the interest rate that you're earning. It's an annual interest rate. It is also compounded on an annual basis. Sometimes you may have what we call monthly compounding, right? If you have monthly compounding, then you have to make some adjustment to take that into consideration. I'm going to show you how to do that. All right. So still pretty much the same scenario, except in this case, you have monthly compounding. Monthly compounding means that you are allowed to put in the interest that you earned from a particular month immediately back into the principal and start earning interest on interest. You do that on a monthly basis, as opposed to if you have annual compounding, you get to put the interest that you earned during a year and back into the principal. Then you do that on a yearly basis, right? So monthly compounding allow basically you to put interest back into the principal, start earning interest on interest a little faster. So this is actually a nice feature to have as compared to annual compounding. So if you have monthly compounding, right, number one, you still need to clear the memory of your calculator before you perform, right, any financial calculation. And then what you want to do here is you want to set what we call the P/Y, right? P/Y stands for number of payments per year, right? This is the thing that we change in order to set the compounding frequency. The default value of P/Y was 1. This is why we don't have to make this adjustment for the previous calculation here, because we have monthly compounding. We have to tell the financial calculator we're looking at 12 months per year, right? Because the compounding frequency is monthly. So to do that, we do second P/Y, 12, enter. Basically, this is basically telling the calculator we're putting 12 as the value of p/y. And then after that, what you want to do is you want to go back to your calculation. All right. And then for your n, previously we were using 20 because everything is done on an annual basis. But here, because we have monthly compounding, we no longer enter 12 as n. We have to enter 12 multiplies whatever number that you put in as p/y, right? So here we enter 12. So essentially what we're doing here is we're multiplying 20 by 12, right? So you'll be looking at 240 months, right? And then you enter that as your n. There is a multiply p/y button, right? Whatever number that you put in as p/y, 12 in this case here, right? You're multiplying that to 20, right? And then enter whatever the product is as your n. And then after that, everything else is exactly the same as before. We still enter 5,000 negative as the present value. And then we put in 10,000 as the future value. Then we can go ahead and solve for the interest rate. So in this case, if you do that, the interest rate that you're getting here is already an annual number, so you don't have to make any adjustment out here. So in this case, if you have annual compounding, you're still earning 3.47% per year, right? So this is how you handle monthly compounding. Again, let me show this to you using my own financial calculator here. What I want to do is I want to do second, reset, and enter to clear the memory. Like I said, the first step that you have to do because you have monthly compounding is you want to set your p/y to be 12, right? To do that, notice the p/y is actually on top of i/y. So in general, if you want to have access to any of those that's on top of a key, you want to do second. So basically the second button allows you to access anything that's on top of a key, not the key itself, but the thing that's on top of the key, right? So here we want to access p/y, so we have to do second p/y. As you can see, the default value is 1, right? And what we want to do is we want to change that into 12, right? So you key in 12, you also have to hit enter, right? So now you see there's an equal sign here that indicates that you have already entered 12 as your p/y. So now you're good to go to continue your calculation with monthly compounding. And what do we want to do here is after we set the p/y equal to 12, we also want to quit, right, to go back to the calculation, right? Notice that the quit button is right here. Again, it's on top of a key, so what we want to do is the second and quit. Now you're ready to do your calculation. All right, so the first thing that we need to enter here, right, for those of you who know me, I usually go from the very left-hand side to the right-hand side, so I always begin with n, right, so I don't forget which parameters I have already entered. So in this case, for n, we're going to key in 20, but notice that, as I just told you, right, you can no longer use 20, you have to do how many months that you have, right? Since we have already entered 12 for p/y, notice here there's a times p/y, right? So this is the button that you use to multiply 20 by whatever your p/y is. So what I did here is I key in 20 and then second times p/y. Essentially, like I said, you're multiplying 20 by 12, right? Because your p/y is 12. Okay, and then you have 240. This is basically how many months that you have. All right, and then you put that in as your n, right? And then, like I said, the rest of that is basically the same as before, right? 5,000 negative as your PV, 110,000 as your future value, right? Then you can go ahead and calculate, the interest rate with monthly compounding. What is your earning? So this is basically the interest rate you're earning on an annual basis, but assuming monthly compounding. All right, so this is kind of how you do that to handle monthly compounding. Another way, which is kind of the way that I usually use, the one that I'm showing you here, this is what I call the standard way, or the user's menu way, right? So you actually have to set the p/y, and that's what they tell you to do. But the way that I usually do when I am looking at this type of problem is I do everything on a monthly basis. Then at the end, I multiply the monthly interest rate by 12. So let me show you what do I mean by that, right? This is going to give you the correct answer, and the one that I'm about to show you will give you the same answer without having to set the p/y. Right, because this is a little cumbersome in my opinion, But if you feel more comfortable with the p/y, go with that because that's the standard method. But what I will do, again, we're looking at the same problem, right? So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to reset my financial calculator, right? I'm going to manually adjust my n, right? Essentially, I have to enter how many months that I have because I'm doing monthly compounding. So I just do 20 times 12, right? So 240, that is my n. Then, as usual, I enter negative 5,000 as PV. I enter 10,000 as my FV. Then I just go ahead and directly calculate my interest, right? In this case, if you calculate your interest rate, right, the calculator will give you the monthly interest rate. All right, once you calculate the monthly interest rate, right, which is this one right here, you can simply multiply that by 12, and that's going to give you exactly the same answer as what we had before, right? So this is like my way of doing this calculation. I do everything on a monthly basis. At the end, you get the monthly interest rate, right? And then you just have to remember you need to multiply the monthly interest rate by 12 to get the annualized interest rate. All right, so if you look at this one here, 3.47%, right? If you go back to the previous slide that we have, right, you get exactly the same answer as if you do the second p/y12 enter thing, right? But here, you don't have to do that, but you do have to remember, if you're using my way, at the end, you have to take the monthly interest rate multiplied by 12. That's going to give you the annualized interest rate. So just pick whichever way that you feel more comfortable. Like I said, the first one, the previous one that I showed you, that's the standard user's manual way, and this is my way, right? Both of those two methods are going to give you the same answer. So let me show you this one here. What I want to do is I want to do second, reset, and enter, right? And then for n, I just manually put in 20 times 12, right? Equal, so 240, I am entering that as my n, okay? And then I put in 5,000 negative as my present value, and then I do 10,000 as my future value. Then I can go ahead and calculate the interest rate. So if you're doing this calculation, right, because you put your n, this is 240, how many months that you have, right? So the interest rate that you're getting will be the monthly interest rate, right? All you really have to do to go from monthly interest rate to annual interest rate, it's simply to take this number and multiply by 12, right? So not surprisingly, you're getting the same answer as this one. Notice that here is 3.47%, all right? So it's the same number, is the same answer, right? Just two different ways to get the same answer. So you should choose whichever you feel more comfortable, right? So just want to show you how do you do the interest rate calculation when you have annual compounding as well as monthly compounding. So as always, if you have any question, please feel free to let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you out. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in another video tutorial.